You ever just look at an album cover and go, what is that? I have plenty of times, from artists that I don't like to artists that I do like, which is what we're going to pay attention to in the video today. These are the worst album covers from 10 of my favorite bands slash artists. I'm not saying that the albums in general, the material that comes off of it, is bad. I'm just saying the cover, yeah, could have been better. Some of these might be controversial, others you might agree with me with, and I think we're going to start off with the one that is one of the more popular ones in history, and that is Paramore's Riot. I mean, I feel like album covers they've done fine with, and even Riot's not that bad, but it hurts my eyes. Like, I get it, it's a real good attention grabber. You see that album, and you basically know what you're gonna get from it, and it's a good album, but I just don't know. Like, I felt like they could have done something a bit better, other than Riot written down like 300 times in different ways, upside down, whatever you want it to, because to me, when you first see it, you're like, oh, cool, but over the years, you're just like, yeah, gets very boring after a while. Then we have a recent one, that being a technical EP, but I like to call it an album because it's long enough to be an album. Bring Me the Horizon's post-human survival horror. Did a fucking 8-year-old draw this? Like, for the most part, some aspects of it are cool, but then the rest just look half-assed. I don't know if that's, like, intentional or whatever, but again, it's eye-popping, but I just out of all the album covers that Bring Me the Horizon have had, and even Ammo not necessarily having an album cover, but still finding a unique way to make it look, you know, like it's never been done before. With this one, it just seems like they went back and was like, okay, one of them was like, I can draw the album cover, and they just worked so hard on the bodies that they just forgot about the background and scribbled it in. Like, no, I would prefer Suicide Seasons or There Is a Hell or Sempiternal's cover art before I would even talk about Post-Human Survival Horror, which is a great EP, just don't like the album art at all. Now, let's go to another one that was most recent that also came out last year. Green Day, Father of All. Yeah, I mean, they recycled the American Idiot album cover with the hand, wrote Father of All Motherfuckers on it, but you can't put motherfuckers, so covering the fuckers part was this unicorn that was just spitting out rainbow for some reason. Apparently Billy Joe Armstrong drew that, and he said, what pisses people off more than anything else? Unicorns. And I don't know, it worked. It pissed me off because I'm like, what is this abomination of an album cover? Like, what am I looking at here? Who are you trying to appeal to? Like, these first three, yeah, they do a good job at catching your attention, but they're so obnoxious that in the end you're just like, why? Why are you doing this to me? Like, oh my goodness. This next one, though, may not be as eye-popping as the first three. That is Fall Out Boy's Mania, their most recent record in 2018. Like, I get what they were going for, but I think it would have been cooler for them to have that kind of purple tidal wave just be the whole album cover. You know, I felt like that would have been pretty cool in a way, but they had to put it in like this 3D purple background that adds nothing else. The word mania is like spaced out very weird, and the lighting to it is just so like again, I kind of see where they were going from with the purple tidal wave, but then after that they just kind of lose me, and it's just a hodgepodge of things that make no sense whatsoever, which, I mean, I guess fits the theme of the record because it's a hodgepodge of whatever it is that makes no sense at all, but you can't tell me that that was the best album cover that you could come up with or that someone came up with for you. Like, you picked that when I can probably tell you there was probably a couple other ones that probably would have made my pick over that one, but I guess we'll never know. Next is a beloved album of mine, one that's grown on people over the years, Linkin Park's 1,000 Suns. As much as I enjoy that record, it's just a white background with a black shadow with the sun. Like, it just, like, you look at it and you go, oh, this album's gonna be boring. Because unless, like, the cover's fully black or fully white, you basically know what you're getting, but when it's black with like this white mix, it just kind of makes you go, alright, this is not going to be an enjoyable listen. And some people be like, well, it's not an enjoyable listen because the music sucks. Think what you want to think, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem to fit the atmosphere of what that album had to offer. And again, I felt like they could have done a lot better because it's called 1,000 Suns, yet there's just one sun on the album cover. Like, I don't know if I'm just taking it too literally, but it doesn't make sense to me, and I wouldn't instantly look at that album and go, oh yeah, this is gonna be excellent, I'm gonna buy it. Like, it's not an attention grabber. It's just kind of, I think it would shoo more people away than anything else. Sticking with white backgrounds for some reason, again, this is an EP, but with her not having that many records out and her having pretty decent album covers, I picked Choke by Poppy here because I think this is like her least, I don't want to say intimidating, but like her kind of kneeling down behind this white background. Like, it doesn't necessarily show me what this EP has. Like, at least with Bubble Bath, you knew you were getting like this like bubblegum pop type thing, and with Poppy.Computer, you can tell you were going to get some upbeat songs, and now that you're at Am I a Girl, things are going to get a bit darker, and then I Disagree came, and you're like, okay, now this is like a true like rock metal type album here. And even with the NXT EP, yeah, it's got a white background, but like she just looks menacing, like you know you're going to get this aggressive EP. With Choke, I mean, it goes in 100 different directions, from pop, industrial, and to metal, but I just, the cover to me has never been intriguing. It's been her least intriguing. I mean, even her friggin' the little avant-garde albums and her Christmas EP and her little Music to Scream 2 soundtrack that she had out had better album covers because of the, I guess, attention grabbing. Like, they weren't eyesores. This one, it's not that it's an eyesore, I just wouldn't look at it and would go, oh yeah, this is going to be a banger. Like, don't get me wrong, the songs on there, again, are great, but if you were to go into it blind, not knowing what to expect, you would look at this thing and go, okay, what is this? Is this a pop record? Is this a metal record? Like, what am I getting myself into here? And it could lead a lot of people to just kind of, you know, move on from it and not even want to listen to it at all. This is a band that's pretty historic, and this is one of their earlier workings, not one of their more popular records. It's their third record, and that is the Red Hot Chili Peppers with the Uplift Mofo Party. This is what it is. I mean, their debut album too was a runner-up. They're both ugly, and I just like, holy shit. I mean, I get that they were on a lot of drugs back then, and maybe they just drew random shit and was like, yep, this is it. This is what we want. But I mean, God damn, dude. Like, at least they've come up with some pretty decent album covers after that, since Mother's Milk, but really, early on, first 3 record Chili Peppers, cover-wise, minus maybe Freaky Styley, they were just obnoxious with it. Let's all be honest with ourselves. Then we have Maroon 5's V on here. It's a LED V lit up red to signify that this is the 5th album from the band. Again, it's this like blurry background. It's just not interesting or intriguing to me in any way. It's just kind of placed there in a weird spot, and again, it doesn't really attach me at all. It just kind of makes me go, oh, okay, whatever, and want to move on from it. This one's just boring. This is just a wrestling belt that says CMFT on it, and it's up close. Like, for Corey Taylor, I was expecting a little bit more creativity with the album cover, but I guess he just kind of copped out and was... It's not that he wanted to make this wrestling persona, it's just, it felt like it was like an ego boost or something. Like, it just felt off to me. But, you know, it's not as bad as the last one, which our good old pals Weezer, who have a hit on some album covers. People know what the Blue album looks like, Pinkerton. They know Van Weezer right there. They know OK Human. You know, they can see some of the great Weezer records from how they look. But those colored records that they do, where it's just the band photos, yeah, those can get a little bit cringy, and I've talked about the Red album before, but we're going to talk about the Black album, because with the Red album, I think when you look at it with all 4 band members having like these different outfits on, it really goes to show you that Weezer was going in like a bunch of different directions here, like they were trying different things. With the Black album, I don't know what signified them to make it look like they had black slime poured on them, but here we are. It just looks so off place. The fact that you can barely read the band's name in or right on the album cover up at the top. It's just like, at this point, I don't know if they're trying to be funny or what, or cinematic, but it just didn't really work. I remember looking at the album cover and going, why does this look icky? Like, something about it just looks very, very icky, because I had heard the way they made it look like there was black slime poured down on them, or tar, or whatever you want to call it, was they put on like these like latex outfits, and I don't know, it's just something about it just rubs me the wrong way. Like, all intent, it was made to be fun, but it just comes off as really creepy, if you ask me. So yeah, there you go. Those were 10 album covers from my favorite bands and artists that are just not good. And again, just because I'm talking about the album covers for these albums, that doesn't mean I hate the records. I think majority of these records are good to great. I mean, obviously there's a couple in here I don't like overall, but we're here to talk about the covers. That's all we were here to do today. But sometimes, like I said, don't judge a book by its cover, because you might like what you hear. Other times you might see a great album cover, but then you realize that a band doesn't spend that much time on the music. And I would like to hear your examples in the comments below of some bad album covers by great bands, and you can even make them on good albums as well, and maybe give me some examples of bands that focus too much on the cover art, like are really good at making cover art, but aren't that good at making music. But until then, stay safe out there, and I will catch you all in the next one.